Florida State is making the defensive line a point of emphasis for the 2025 recruiting class. Now, yes, the chances are always a key position to recruit, but with the last cycle in 2024, they only brought in two defensive linemen in Denos White and D.D. Holmes. So, with a light haul in 24, they have to make up for it in 2025. Now, the defensive line board is actually pretty deep this cycle, and they even have a few guys committed with four-star, fringe five-star defensive end Javion Hilson and four-star linebacker Ethan Pritchard. But let's talk about some other targets on that side of the ball. We'll start out with four-star defensive lineman Myron Charles out of Port Charlotte, Florida. He's 6'4", 295 pounds, so already an elite frame for his age, top 200 player in the country overall, and he's shown interest in all the big Florida schools, but Florida State is the school he's visited the most, and he continuously says Florida State is his leader. He even currently holds a crystal ball prediction to the Noles, and as of right now, I definitely predict him in this class. Decision timeline still getting worked out. He has his OBE scheduled during the summer, with Florida State getting the last official visit, which is always another great sign. If the staff can stay on him, I think he ends up in Tallahassee, which will be a nice recruiting win against your rivals and a major position in need. Kevin Wynn is another top target along that defensive line, a four-star, top 55 overall player in the country, according to 247. So, elite caliber of player here. He is a Georgia kid, and UGA is one of the major threats, and probably Florida State's biggest competition to land him. Luckily, Florida State has an advantage with the relationships there. Florida State was the first one to offer him, the first college game he went to, the first school and staff that got to meet his mom, and that's why he loves Florida State, the people and the culture. So definitely have a lot going for him here, and even though he's not a Florida kid, I do think this one is Florida State's to lose. Now, luckily, Florida State will get the last official visit in the summer, and that'll probably be the turning point in this one either way. That'll be after he visits Georgia and the Noles get the final impression, so just got to close it out. Now, another one that may excite Noles fans a little bit more is four-star defensive lineman Jalen Wiggins, who is actually a current Florida commit, but he's actually from Tallahassee and visits Florida State super often despite being committed to the Gators. He's 6'4", about 250 pounds, so some actually think he'll be an edge at the next level, but it doesn't matter how he puts on weight. But he's a top 70 player in the country overall, so an elite talent Florida State's looking to add, and it'll be even sweeter to try to flip him from the Gators. Luckily, the Noles will get the last official visit for him as well, even after Florida, so another big one there at the end of June to keep an eye on. Now, it's definitely early, but I'm actually going to go out on a limb here and predict that Florida State does flip him from the Gators and lands him in the 2025 class. Now, linebacker is another pretty deep board, and that's a good thing. We all know linebacker recruiting in recent years has been pretty sparse, so definitely a good thing that Florida State is in the mix for a lot of the top guys at this position. Tavion Wallace, a four-star, top 30 player right now, so he could actually finish as a five-star. Another kid that Florida State will get the last official visit for on June 21st. Then he has a commitment date set for July 15th. With the timeline of how that all stacks up, it's actually a really good sign for Florida State, and I do predict that he'll end up in this class. He does even currently hold a couple crystal ball predictions as well to Florida State, so Noles definitely in the driver's seat here. Also at linebacker, they're heavily involved with guys like Gavin Nix, Ty Jackson, Zadrius Rainey-Sale, who they actually used to hold a prediction for, and then he committed to his in-state school, Washington. But that was before Kalen DeBoer was hired at Alabama. A few days later, he opened his recruitment, and now it's anyone's game. Florida State is definitely still heavily involved with him, and when you know it, they're slated to get the final official visit for him as well at the end of June. So a lot of final visits, a big month of June, a couple Nole leans, and a couple with still some work to do. What we do know for sure is that Florida State is making defense, and specifically players along that defensive line, a major focal point for this year's recruiting class. I think with the way offensive line recruiting is also going, this could be Florida State's best trench recruiting class in a long time. Now, maybe I'll do a video on the offensive line as well, so let me know down in the comments if you're interested in a video like that. But Noles off to a great start recruiting defensive line this cycle. Just hope they can keep the momentum and close it all out. We appreciate you guys tuning in and talking some Florida State recruiting. Always fun to go over a big board like this one. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep seeing more FSU content, we cover recruiting, portal stuff, draft stuff, so definitely make sure you drop a like and consider subscribing. Really helps me out a ton, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Go Noles.